The old saying still holds true today that you are what you eat. The lies that they have fed you become the fabric of who and what you are. This is the whole premise of this channel. Some may wonder, why did I name it an alien energy 444? That's because I am an alien energy. Ever since I was a kid, I knew I did not fit in with human beings because I'm not a human being. I just have this human costume that I'm wearing, but inside this, I'm not human. I'm not from anywhere around here. And by that, I don't mean the earth. I mean anywhere around this universe. None of it resonates with me. I'm from somewhere totally different. So I knew as a child, that I didn't fit in. It wasn't that I didn't get along with people. There was just something about them that I just didn't, align with them. And I didn't understand it when I was younger, but I knew that there was something that I couldn't explain, but it was very prevalent. And there was a reason for it and why my life exactly was the way it was up until this point. So that's the whole premise of my channel, because it makes me sick to my stomach. And I'm not overemphasizing that or dramatizing that. It's true. And what do I mean? I'm talking about what this system is doing to you and to the newer generations, to these younger kids, just to ensure that their agenda continues on. The brainwashing, the manipulation, the programming, the lying, misinformation campaigns, disinformation campaigns, the propaganda, all of it. I can clearly see all of it. How they push youth, and you don't even know why that is. Why the elderly are ostracized in society, and they're made out to be a pariah. And why is that? Well, because the elderly are fully aware of the history of what was, and it is the fear of the cult that the elderly will inform the younger generations of the past and make them aware how to avoid the patterns that are always continuously being played on them. That's why you notice it's always just youth. They're always pushing youth. Look at Hollywood, younger and younger and younger. Well, first off, they're pedophiles. Not just Hollywood. Predominantly, mostly all politicians. They're child sex traffickers and drug dealers and just a lot of stuff. Just crazy stuff in this world. You'd be surprised the people that you revere, who and what they really are. It would blow your mind. They're all a part of this scheme. But that's the premise of this channel that comes in at the moment that it does, because God always has a purpose and reason for everything. So when I say God, of course, if you know my channel by now, religion is the nucleus of the matrix. All religion is evil. It doesn't matter what they professing, and none of it. It's all coming from that satanic cult. It's made to look as if it's coming from a very holy place, but there's nothing spiritual about religion. It's just control, manipulation, and money. Money is always the top of the list and the bottom of their agenda. That's the bread of it. And the meat, of course, is people. And the money and the cajoling. So that's the reason why I'm on here doing what I'm doing, because you just get sick and tired of watching people being deceived and lied to and tricked and scammed and conned constantly. Why do you think now you have the electronic age where it makes it so easy for them now to do this? Especially when they target the elderly. They get the phone calls. This is Microsoft Corporation customer service, and you have an outstanding bill, or there's something going with your account. Please contact us. And these poor elderly people contact what they think is Microsoft support or PayPal, and they just get duped. They get duped, and they wind up losing all of their life savings. It's that same predatory scheme that's going on with this whole entire world. Here in the United States, they refer to it as predatory lending, but that isn't even close to being the truth, because the entire system is a predator, and you are its prey. It's sad to see humanity just spiral down the toilet. That's what I'm watching. The moral depravity. I just can't believe they have apps for one-night stands. I mean, that's how low it's gotten. It's just ridiculous, You could just watch the moral fabric of society just crumbling. And this is by design. You have that hookup culture, woke, all that stuff. That's all coming from the same hub. Don't think otherwise, that it's coming from other places. They always control all of the chaos. This is orchestrated chaos, is what it is. And it will always be that, because if it worked for them in the past, there's no need for them to change it on their part. When human beings finally start to awaken to what's going on, then hopefully this will be the catalyst of something brand new that they haven't seen the likes of yet. This will be contingent upon the fact that you obviously have to recognize there's something not right going on around you. You can't just sit back and zone out on TikTok and YouTube and pretend like this stuff isn't happening. I remember one time a couple of years back where I was having a walk with somebody, and we were just discussing spiritual things and things of that nature. But then when we got into what happened 4 years ago with that big to-do with, I got very deeply involved with it. And her demeanor towards me changed. She says, yeah, I noticed when you were talking to somebody, you just turned into somebody else. I said, that's because I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and I just want people to be aware of what's being done to them. Those internet towers that they're putting up for faster connectivity, those are military-grade weapons platforms, okay? If you don't believe me, check it out yourself. I've already done a video on that. But I had given her an example because she was taking a very pretentious attitude towards this whole thing. Like, her spirituality was above and beyond it. I said, well, are you the type of a person that if you're in a neighborhood and every one of your neighbor's houses is burning down, you just could care less as long as yours isn't burning down? And she was like, well, no. I said, well, then there you go. Because we're all in this together, whether you want to realize it or not. Because the last time I checked, there's only one Earth here. There's more than one Earth everywhere else out there. But here in this place, this is the only Earth that you and I have. So we're all sharing it. So you can't have this attitude like, who cares? It's not affecting me. Because if it's going over there, it's going to come over to you. You have to get out of this notion that, well, it can't happen to me. That only happens to other people. That's what they thought until it happened to them too. Because what they have planned is something that's going to happen to all of us if people don't wake up. That's why I'm so adamant about reiterating the same subjects over and over again, in the hopes that I can actually get through to you. Because unfortunately, a lot of these people, they're unreachable. It's impossible to chisel through the impenetrable wall of delusional psychosis that has steadily been built up or through the years of unconscious societal programming mechanisms that they have been exposed to. Again, as I'll say it again with what I opened up with this video, the lies that they fed you become the fabric of your life. That becomes the tapestry of your reality. That's all you know to refer to. This is your false identity, but you don't realize that it's false because this is what you think is your actual identity. That's why when somebody confronts you with the real truth, you are freaking PO'd because you have been fed lies your entire life by a system that's just blatant prevarication. It looks good, it sounds good, it feels good, but it's way off and it's wrong and it's not right. And it never will be because they're trying to get you to acclimate to Satanism, cannibalism, and pedophilia. That's what they're pushing in the schools because they want to get to a point where this world is in acceptance with their culture and their systems and their traditions, which is horrendous. Ask yourself one question and see if I'm lying or not, but I'm going to state a fact. Reptiles are cold-blooded, are they not? Why do you think that the polar caps are melting? And why do you think that the temperature of the earth is rising? Why do you think that winters are soon to be something in the past that will be extinct? Think about it. Because what they're trying to do is trying to make a global tropical planet. This way they can circumvent the globe at will without being inhibited by the North Pole, Antarctica, or states that have winters in them. Now, in New York here, I remember as a kid in the 70s, when it snowed, it was 5 feet of snow. Before the winter came, birds would migrate south for the winter. You would not see birds at all. They were gone. Usually probably about October when it started to really dip down to the temperatures. They just migrated south and they stayed there and they came back maybe April. And that was just a given. That's the way it was. And the things that you would never see in the winter, you would never see insects. You would never see a fly in the middle of December. You would never see mosquitoes and garden variety bugs. That was just never would happen. Now, middle of January, 75 degrees, I see mosquitoes, I see flies, and the birds never leave. Why? Because they are acclimated to the new cycle of the earth that's being forced on Mother Earth. That's why. They're fully aware because they're sentient beings. They don't have a satanic matrix impeding their connection to source. That's why they're dialed into something that you can never dial into. But to close this video, that's the reason why I named the channel what it is, because I am an alien energy. I just have a physical costume here. And I've always recognized my true nature as a cosmic being, not as a human being. That's the reason why the universe impels me to do this through this medium, in the hopes to reach you and contact your soul and awaken that element of you to rise from its dormancy and realize that you're being fed lies through your social content, your books, your media, and you're also being fed poison with the food and the beverages and the water. Water has fluoride. Fluoride is the #1 cancer-causing agent in the world. The foods, read your ingredient labels. Bioengineered foods, genetically modified organisms, synthetic sweeteners, artificial ingredients. Natural flavors are not natural. Anything that says gum in it is an emulsifier. Emulsifiers cause inflammation, Crohn's disease, cancer, constipation. It just tears up your guts. The dyes and the colorings, they're poisonous. Do you know that root beer is actually clear like water? And that dark brown dye is actually poisonous to your body? Do you know all of the kinds of byproducts they put in your foods that they don't even have to tell you because they're not at liberty to disclose what they're putting in your food? But these are the people that you trust to roll up your sleeve. You know, when something comes along and they have to put something in your body with a very sharp object, if you know what I'm talking about, and you have blind trust and faith in these people, these 3-letter agencies that are all a part of this clique, this cult, trust me when I tell you, they all are. It doesn't matter how the package looks on the outside. Do you guys remember, what was it? Not the last Super Bowl, but the one before last, when they were all dressed in the white and the very famous person, the woman, was in red. Well, that's a satanic ritual, if you haven't figured it out. When they have their demonic covens, they love wearing red robes or white. Satanists love the colors red and white. That's them flashing their gang colors, man. Look how many companies are red and white. I can't even list them here. And you can clearly see in the symbolism, the 666. They throw it right in your face. I can literally list names. You know, I'd have to get like a program where I could show you the logos of all of these companies and just show you where these sixes are. And they're all over, almost every one of them. They just throw it right in your face. They're telling you what they are. You know, but I wouldn't want to get my channel shut down, because then I'm not doing anybody any good. So just to leave you with, that's the reason why my channel's up. That's why it's named what it's named. It isn't something I just pulled out of the clear blue sky. You know, I am an alien energy. I'm not from this planet. I don't belong with the human race, the human species. Never have been, never will. I don't fit in. I don't want to. I have compassion. A long time ago, I gave up hope on human beings, but I still have faith that, you know, they'll pull themselves through. But now that I'm seeing, you know, hopefully that things can turn around, they have to, or else you guys are going to be extinct. That's what's slated for you. Obsolescence and then extinction. That's exactly what they have, because they don't need you anymore. Private sector jobs will dry up. You know, they're dumbing down everybody for a reason, because you're more controllable that way. You know, intellectual people that are high capacity learners and they're very cognizant and sentient and lucid, you know, they're not easily duped by this BS that they're feeding you. Whereas somebody who's a TikTok junkie, you can tell them anything and they'll do it. I mean, for God's sake, they were eating the Tide Pods. You know, there was a contest. They were putting those freaking things in their mouth and eating them. I mean, there you go. When you can have a group of people wait on a line for 8 days for a PlayStation 2, you know they can't think for themselves. And then I heard a few years ago, quite a few years ago, they were online for 21 days, I think, waiting for a new iPhone or some crazy nonsense. When you can get somebody to wait on a line for 3 weeks for some commercial material garbage, some component or device or something, you know you have total control over them and that they cannot think for themselves. That's what happens when you give your force and your power to this external entity and you become entirely dependent on them for everything, for all of your basic necessities. Your basic survival skills go right out the window. You don't know how to grow your own food or live off the land like the indigenous did many centuries before. They didn't rely on the system. They relied on themselves. And whatever they took from the earth, they always put it back. It was a reciprocity. It was never left unrequited. Not on their end, it wasn't. That's why the earth always benefited from their inhabitants, because they weren't takers. They were givers and takers. That's a relationship. When was the last time you were in a relationship where you were doing all of the giving and your partner was doing all of the taking? Isn't that draining? And that's why you're probably not in a situation like that, because it's too exhausting mentally, emotionally, and otherwise. And that's how the earth feels when all you do is take from her. And you give nothing in return except pollution, toxicity, hazardous materials, mercury in the ocean, poisoning the skies, and God knows what else. So that is it in a nutshell for me for this video, to let you know why it's named An Alien Energy and why I do what I do, because I don't want to see humanity crumble into the, into the pile of rubble, into non-existence. I just don't want to see it. It's a sad state of affairs. I've lived many years on this earth and I've never seen it like this. The way people drive their cars so angry, the way they treat each other, the way they have no regard for anything as far as nature anymore. They don't even look up anymore. They're just too busy looking at their phones constantly. How many times have you had a conversation with the side of somebody's face because they're so busy staring at their phone all day? They can't even give you eye contact. And then when you do maintain eye contact, they're like, what are you looking at? Why are you looking at me? You're creeping me out. This is inappropriate. This is off-putting. It's just all garbage. You're a human being, for God's sake. You're not a machine. That's why they tell you, these disingenuous spiritualists, they're like, oh, I've been receiving downloads today. You see how they're conditioning you to make you think you're a computer? I hope you're catching on to this stuff, folks, because I know you're smarter than that. That's for sure. But anyway, peace, love, and light. And let it go, man. All the craziness. But when the time comes for you to stand them and fight, you're going to have to do that. If that time does arrive. But I know that God's working against them. But God can only do so much. God needs the help of human beings to show the initiative and make the effort, in order to allow this world to be a brighter place to live instead of us being thrown into darkness for thousands of centuries. That's their plan. Anyway, I know it's not going to work. And you know it's not going to work. We just all have to get together and be on the same page to make sure it's not going to work. And let them know who's in power and control. Not them. Everybody here. Because by numbers alone, you beat them exponentially. And they know it. But that doesn't mean they're not going to give up trying. But they won't succeed in the end because they keep forgetting about one thing. Source, Almighty God. Just as always. Peace.